Welcome, everybody, to another weekly dose of Live at 5. That's right, we are back. We are back again. I am your guy, Z Fly, and I am coming to you live at Fly from Fly World Media. That's right, today is Wednesday, so you know what that means. We are doing a Wondering Wednesday. That's right, a Wondering Wednesday is the day that we're going to be giving. Now, I haven't done a Wondering Wednesday in a long time, so I'm really going to enjoy. You know what I'm saying? Just bringing this to you. But before I do, let's go ahead and do our homework, right? As you know, I'm going to go ahead and run down my social media. So you can definitely follow me on whatever platform that you own. Be sure to follow me. If you are on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so that way you'll be notified whenever I do drop any type of show or hot in the mix or real hot fresh show, whatever it may be. You'll be the first in to know it. All right. But today I am going to be bringing you a Wondering Wednesday for this live at 5 today. So today we're going to be discussing, like different, language barriers, language barriers and how that is. So do you ever wonder how different cultures will interact if language barriers didn't exist? So basically, like, let's just say that, there was only one language for everybody across the globe, right? There was no language barriers. There wasn't any, Chinese accents or American accents or Canadian accents or Hispanic accents, whatever. Just one language across the globe. And so I was really thinking about this. And I was like, well, of course, the first thing you're going to think is, well, it will make language a lot easier, right? You go to a different country, everybody just speaking the same language. But then it also takes away that aspect of, the differences, because even though sometimes language barriers can be a little difficult, but it's also is very special because, it gives, everybody, something kind of unique. Like, I know whenever I go certain places, people love the American accent. But then also too, here in America, you have different types of accents. You have the Southern accent, you have the Northern accent, you have the Midwestern accent, you have the Western. So I mean, just think like if none of those uniqueness were there anymore. I know at times, yeah, it can be kind of difficult. Like if you go to certain, like let's say you go to South America or Mexico or something, if they're speaking their language, if you're American or whomever, you may not get it. But I mean, but listen, we make it work, right? Listen, probably since the beginning of time, there has been language barriers, in different regions and parts of the country or world or whatever. And we have been getting, we've been making it happen. Also, too, another thing, like just having one language across the board, it just kind of takes away the education aspect, meaning that, how people learn a new language. If everybody's speaking the same language, there isn't no need to learn a new language. So I think, learning a new language is something great. I know a lot of people who have learned Spanish, that people have learned Japanese, learn whatever, so I think having different languages, it just makes us different and it just shows our differences. Now, some of y'all may say, well, being different ain't good. Well, yeah, I know, right? That's how it seems, but it actually is very unique. Definitely living here in New York City. New York City is a melting pot. So, I hear different languages all the time. But also, too, but with having these different languages, it causes for conversation. Oh, you hear it. Oh, where are you from? Oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? So, if they're having a different accent or language or whatever, it is a great conversation piece. It's a great conversation starter, and I think it's really cool. I think it's really great. I mean, if the only negative, and it's really not negative, but like if the only challenge, one would say is, oh, I don't understand what they're saying, or I don't know what they're saying, and da-da-da. If that's the only challenge, then that's not a big challenge, because at the end of the day, like I said, it makes us very, very different. Not even just languages. Just recently, like so recent to like maybe not too long ago, I there was a fire in my neighborhood. Thankfully, no one was hurt. One of the residents in the neighborhood, um, they were at their New Jersey home. Okay, listen. Okay, listen. They got homes everywhere. They got a New Jersey home. They got a New York home. So unfortunately, their New York home was on fire, and I think it was something where either something had caught a fire in the basement. I don't know if it was like the AC unit or something. The point is, there, it was on fire. So like these tons of fire trucks was out there, and I was actually being nosy. I was being nosy that time, so I was like standing around. But anyway, I was standing in the neighborhood. So I live in predominantly a Jewish neighborhood, and I was surprised. Like I was really surprised because like some of the Jews, some of the Jews, they was we was in conversation. But I don't know if it was because like something was happening, something bad was happening. But we was in conversation. I mean, now I'm not saying that like they was speaking in a language I didn't know. But what I'm saying is like just different cultures and languages, and how we came together at like this particular crisis that was happening to someone else's home. But yeah, it has really made me think like, wow, a lot of times all these barriers and all these different things that we feel like, keeps us apart from one another. But at the end of the day, we really are all alike. Like one of the Jews I was talking to, now mind you, I'm a stranger, okay? Complete stranger. He just started talking to me. He was like, "Oh, you know what? Now look what's happening. With this person's house." He said, "We all got to be humble. We all got to love each other. This needs to be a reminder that anything can happen. It could have been your house. It could have been my house. And then he just started going into his marriage, talking about how like his wife gets on his nerves. Now this is a stranger, and this is a Jew. Now, if y'all know Jews, Jews. Now, I'm not saying they're this way, but they do have this reputation of just sticking to their own selves, like not really going outside of their own, culture or whatever, their own people. But yeah, but this Jew man was talking to me, telling me all about his wife, how she's getting on his nerves, and he was telling me some of his temptations that he have. Yeah, and I learned a lot. He was like, he said, what he say? Oh yeah, he said, a lot of people, they think because we're Jews that, it's so easy for us to follow, the religious practice. He said, but no, we struggle as well. And it's really, really tempting. He said, we go to the beach, you might see a woman, dressed in a bikini, and they don't put be lusting over her, what I'm saying, while your wife is right here with her wig on. But yeah, but he said that they have temptation too. So, what I'm saying, but so in other words, I was just saying that you see so much, and we think that like we're so different, with the languages and the cultures and so much. But a lot of times, as you see, whenever we really start talking to each other, we really see that there's a lot of similarities. So yeah. So once again, so back on the language barriers. Yeah. What was it? What did it say? If there was no language barriers, would things be easier? Yeah, there you go. How different cultures would interact. You know what? They won't interact no differently. You want to know why? Because I mean, just because you're speaking the same language, that don't mean that like you're still gonna love everybody. Yeah, because listen, you're still gonna because let me tell you something. There are people who speak the same language. Like American speaking people, they don't like each other. You know what I'm saying? There are Spanish speaking people who speak the same language, and they don't like each other. So speaking the same language, what would it say? Well, how different cultures would interact if language barriers didn't exist? They won't. If they want to interact no different, they still be fighting, cussing, mad, shooting, to robbing banks, everything. So yeah, the language ain't got nothing to do with it. Because I know some people, like I said, listen, I know people who might speak Spanish, and they might speak I don't know, so one of them languages, and they're doing the same crime. So there won't be nothing different. All right, but I definitely want to know what like. Tell me, let me know in the chat what you all think. Do you feel that how different cultures will interact differently if language barriers didn't exist? What do you think? So let me know in the chat. All right. And once again, I do thank you so much for catching me live at 5 today. I'm your guy, Z Fly. Once again, I do want to invite you once again to follow me on my YouTube page. I'm telling you, the YouTube is where it's at, everybody. Listen now, listen. The Facebook is good, the Twitter is good, the Instagram is popping, but the YouTube is where it's at. And look at it. And then also, too, my website. That's definitely where it's at. Yeah, definitely check out my website right there on the end. There you go. Yeah, see. Yeah, check me out. Everything Z Fly, Fly World Media, Fly Entertainment. You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. Like I said, so much is coming. The fall is underway. So, when fall comes, a lot of things just falls into place, and a lot of things are definitely on the horizon for Fly Entertainment. So definitely check me out. I got some events coming up, some seminars coming up, and so much more. So yeah, so check out the website and also check me out on my YouTube page. Also, too, for the people who love to just listen, check me out on what's it called? I forgot what the thing is called. What's the thing called whenever you listen? This is There you go. Listen, I'm saying my team have my back because you know what? There is so much in my mind. I'm like, what is it called? Spotify. Thank you. Yes, follow me on Spotify as well. For those of you all who just want to listen to what's happening. Okay, I got Spotify too. So listen, you all don't have no excuse to not listen and keep it live at 5 every week. And then all the other shows too. So you ain't got no excuse. All right. But once again, thank you so much for joining me this Wondering Wednesday. Hopefully I gave you something to wonder about, something to kind of ponder on. And until next time, stay fly, not high. Bye-bye.